We tend to think of medicine as this field of concrete answers, right? A place of hard facts and absolute certainty. But what if I told you that for the doctors actually on the front lines, the map of human health still have these vast, uncharted territories? That's the surprising reality we're going to explore. This question popped up recently in an online community of physicians, and it just gets right to the heart of everything. Now, this wasn't some philosopher asking from the outside. This was a genuine question from one doctor to another, and it sparked this incredibly honest conversation about the true state of their own knowledge. And all of this leads us to a really fascinating idea: the knowledge paradox. Basically, as our ability to generate medical data just explodes, the horizon of what we don't know seems to expand even faster. Kind of weird, right? And look at the sheer speed of this. It's just wild. According to research by Dr. Peter Denson, back in 1950, it took half a century for medical knowledge to double. Okay. By 2020, it was projected to double every 73 days. Just let that sink in for a second. 73 days? So what does this data explosion actually mean for a person, for a doctor? Well, if you started med school in 2010, everything you crammed and memorized in those first few years, by 2020, that was just 6% of the total available knowledge. It's literally impossible for one human being to keep up. So, just how big is this great unknown? This isn't just a feeling doctors have. We can actually put some numbers on the scale of the mysteries that medicine is still trying to solve. Let's start with this absolutely staggering figure. Of the roughly 18,500 recognized diseases in the world, less than 22% have any kind of FDA-approved treatment. That means for more than 3/4 of all known diseases, there is no official cure. And this isn't some abstract number. That translates to over 300 million people all around the globe who are living with a disease that has no approved treatment. These are real people navigating conditions where the medical map is, well, it's effectively blank. The situation gets even more grim when we zoom in on rare diseases. Over 95%, almost all of them, have no form of treatment whatsoever. This just shows you how enormous that uncharted territory is for millions of families. But the great unknown isn't just about rare conditions out there. Nope. It's actually woven into the fabric of our own bodies, in these common experiences that we all share, but that science, believe it or not, still can't fully explain. I mean, why do we yawn? What is the actual biological purpose of laughter? Why do we even have different blood types? Or how about the photic sneeze effect? Where some of us sneeze in bright light? Even something as fundamental as being right or left-handed is still a biological puzzle. So given this backdrop of just exponential knowledge and these vast unknowns, what do the doctors on the front lines really think about all this? Let's tune into some of those voices from that discussion we talked about earlier. First, a key term you'll hear a lot in medicine is idiopathic. It's the formal, fancy way of saying a disease has no known cause. It just seems to pop up spontaneously. And you would be shocked how often doctors have to use this word. But here's how one physician candidly and pretty humorously translates it. This isn't arrogance. It's a really frank admission of the limits of what we currently understand, and it's a daily reality for these doctors. For some specialties, the uncertainty is even more fundamental. A psychiatrist pointed out that their entire field is pretty much built on subjective reports from patients. They don't have objective biomarkers, things like a blood test or a scan, that can definitively prove a diagnosis. And it's not just psychiatry. A hematologist, that's a blood specialist, put it even more bluntly. Even in a field that seems so concrete and scientific, there's this feeling that they are just scratching the surface. This comment right here perfectly captures the feeling from these frontline professionals. The more they discover, the more questions they have. It's really a testament to both the progress of science and the unbelievable complexity of the human body. So if you can't memorize the entire map because it's growing too fast, how do you navigate it? Well, the medical world is starting to develop some pretty clever new strategies to cope with this exact problem. Dr. Denson, the researcher we saw earlier, he argues for a massive shift in medical education. Instead of forcing students to memorize an ever-growing list of diseases, the focus should be on understanding the core mechanisms, the basic ways the body can actually break down. And this focus on mechanisms, it's the same logic behind this super exciting field called drug repurposing. The idea is simple but brilliant. Step 1.
you find a disease that has a treatment, drug X. Step 2, you find a different, untreated disease that shares a similar biological pathway. Step 3, you test if drug X could also work for that second disease. It's a fantastic way to find new uses for medicines we already have. So what does this all mean for the future? Well, it means that medicine's next chapter isn't really about having all the answers. It's about getting better at asking the right questions and really embracing that journey into the unknown.
One of the most provocative comments from that whole physician discussion was this one. It's such a deeply humble perspective, just acknowledging that future generations are going to see our most advanced treatments today the same way we see medical practices from 100 years ago. And that leaves us with this final, fascinating question. With that medical map being redrawn every 73 days, what discoveries, what certainties are waiting just over the horizon? What will they know that we don't?